What's going on, everybody? It's Coach Greg Adams back in here with another video. Shout out to you. Welcome back to the Ask Coach Greg Adams channel. Good to have you here. And we're back for another important and provocative topic. Today, we're talking about SDSB lifestyle, aka the junior college, also known as SDSB relationships. And this is going to be very provocative. Welcome back. You guys know me for many, many years as a speaker in the manosphere and red pill spaces, but we're going to take a different direction and pivot as I put in my pocket square, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with this one. And my pocket square is matching very, very well. All right. Hope it's very good. And I hope I don't have to edit this and redo the video because I didn't like the way my pocket square sit. All right. But anyway, shout out to the Coach Gang. And today we're going to talk about the provocative lifestyle, the secret lifestyle of SDSB relationships, better known as sugar daddy, sugar baby relationships, as I should say. And as you guys know, I have coined various terms regarding this. The JUCO, the junior college. If you look up Urban Dictionary, I have talked about the junior college for many, many years. Typically, the junior college was related to older man, younger woman relationships. Typically, people date within their same age range, but for me, I prefer to date younger women, and that has to be a way to go about that in a way that doesn't affect my time and my money. Not only that, I came up with the phrase money, energy, attention, and time, which is how all men pay. Also, I was one of the first people in that space to talk about how all men pay in one way or another. Now, this is a very provocative topic, and a lot of people need to handle it very maturely. Of course, since I've been a voice in talking about female nature and the dynamics of relationships, people didn't think that I would explore this type of thing. They thought I would expose it. But here I am exposing myself as someone that is a full participant in this lifestyle. And it suits me. It fits me well, typically in the archetype that I represent, which is the gentleman archetype. Now, you actually have seen me put out the book, The Free Agent Lifestyle, and people wondered, well, does the free agent lifestyle ultimately lead to what people consider tricking? Well, this is a choice that you have to make. So I'm not promoting this lifestyle for you. We're simply talking about it. And what I want to talk about today is how I got involved in this. Somewhere around the start of my content, I was still personal training, and I had a lot of clients in wealthy areas. And some of these clients had children that were in their late teens and in their early 20s. Well, one particular client had a young lady who the woman was concerned that her daughter was coming home with a lot of gifts with money that she didn't believe the daughter had. So one of my instincts was, since I was a single male, was to say maybe she's dating someone older and that person older is getting them gifts. And she said, well, would you check if my daughter is on any websites? Because she's married. She didn't have the ability to go on any websites, but she knew that I was single. And she said, would you go on any websites to see if my daughter is on any websites, maybe promoting this? And I said, sure. Now, this is around 2019. This is well before people were accustomed to even talking about this. It's very secretive. Discretion is a part of this particular thing. So it's not about exposing who people are. It's about keeping the details secretive. So I went on typical dating sites, Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. I don't think Hinge was around at the time, but Tinder, Bumble, Plenty of Fish, to see if the daughter was there. And I couldn't come up with nothing. I could search the radius, and I said, listen, I can't come up with anything. But one thing led to another, and it said, listen, there's a site that typically people do, and I'm not going to say the name of the site, but you can join me on Locals if you want to know about it, because we explore these sites for you to see what's available there and how to use it, how to update your profile. So join me on CoachGregAdams.locals.com. I'll put it down at the bottom of the screen so you can check it out. So I said, listen, maybe, just maybe, she's on this site. And I opened up an account. It was a free account at the time. And I said, I couldn't find her on there, but I didn't know how to work it. So I came back and said, listen, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to surveil your daughter possibly being involved in a monetized dating relationship, another phrase that I've coined. And yeah, I didn't find anything. However, I found out this lifestyle is very prevalent and a lot of young women were engaging in it, and it could be a possible lane for me. At the time, I didn't have a lot of time to conduct it. I had my own kids of my own, and I was dealing with me being a new content creator at the time. I've been probably about a year into my content creation, and I was really focused, hyper-focused on being a great content creator. But somewhere down the line, a year later, I got a coaching call from a client, and he was talking about he was a part of this lifestyle. So I said, listen, tell me how it works, and then I'll be able to tell you better how to be able to work it. So that's what happened. And with this information, I was able to explore this a lot better. Now, let me stop this and put a pin in that conversation, because it does sound like now at that particular point, I didn't know anything about older men, younger women relationships. That couldn't be further from the truth, because at that time I was in a mutually beneficial relationship with a younger woman. Now, this younger woman I met on Instagram, and at the time I was doing fitness content on my Instagram. So she had been following me for years, and she had been following me behind the scenes, never mentioned anything. And then when she was about 22, she reached out to me because I was in Las Vegas. She saw I posted on Instagram around about 2017, and she said, hey, I happen to be in Vegas too. We connected, but at that time, I'm in my early 40s. So we pretty much had an on again, off again, dynamic, mutually beneficial relationship for about 5 years, all the way up till she was about to turn 28 years old. Right at that point, I was starting to move in Las Vegas. So that pretty much killed the opportunity for that relationship to continue. However, that was the junior college relationship. All right. That was the relationship that we had. Now, it was non-monogamous. It was open. There were no rules, particularly related to what we will call normie dating. I could see as many people as I wanted to, and she certainly was open to do so. As far as I knew, she wasn't seeing anybody else. Now, it wasn't important to me, but the relationship was never based on the money aspect. It was based on the time and energy aspect. So money, energy, attention, and time. She didn't require much attention. She didn't require much money at all. There was never a direct transactional relationship, but we would spend weekends together, and sometimes we would go on trips, and then she would come spend available time that she wanted. But we had an almost 22-year age gap. Now, that makes people uncomfortable. And part of what we talk about in the SDSB relationships is most of the time there's an age gap present there. Not always, but sometimes there is. So at that point, I'd consider it an SDSB relationship. Some people might, but there definitely was a large age gap, but we weren't headed to some sort of marriage or relationship, and we weren't very much tied together. We didn't make appearances on our social media, so it wasn't a relationship, but it definitely gave me the indication that, or many the indication that it was a SDSB relationship. We were very discreet about it. It was somewhat secretive. Not many people knew about it other than close friends and close family. But the best part of it was we got to dictate the rules of the relationships. And that is basically what the benefit is when you're dealing on the monetized dating marketplace. Some men are surprised at how many people that are doing this. Now, it's very open. A lot of people are doing it. You're not dealing with desperate people, because a lot of people believe that the women are desperate. Certainly, there are some people that are desperate related on that side. OK, but you're dealing with a lot of men, sometimes celebrities, entertainers. You're actually hearing that. Some of your manosphere content creators are doing it. But again, it's not about exposing them. Some of them been exposed in a variety of ways. Some of them haven't. Trust me. They're doing the exact same thing behind the scenes. We've also heard about entertainers on the female side that have been exposed for taking part in this type of relationships. And some people can't believe it. All right. Some people simply can't believe it, but it is very believable for me, because I've been engaged in this type of situation for about 5 years, going on 6 years. And trust me, there are regular women that work in corporate, lawyers, doctors, the variety, all ages, all sizes, all colors, all races. They're involved in it. And typically the last group of people that are not involved in this, unfortunately, it's black men. All right. Black men typically trend on getting their dating advice from what we would call the PIMP culture. And this is frowned upon. It is so frowned upon that if they do participate in it, they typically treat it very poorly. All right. So much so that some of the women won't even deal with African-American men. They don't pay, they lowball, they damage the property. And many times they try to turn them on or turn them over to the PIMP culture via themselves. So they don't participate very well in the transactional relationships, and they typically pay the lowest. So unfortunately, there's a very foul reputation for black men in that particular culture. And typically you will probably see in the comment section, a lot of these poor black men will be in there talking about, well, you don't have game and you have to pay for it. And typically That's not really the case. It's not that you have to, it's that you prefer to. And so leading into this has been a great opportunity for me to share with my audience the last 3 years on CoachGregAdams.locals.com about this particular lifestyle. And a lot of men have been turned over to this lifestyle and find it far more time beneficial and financially beneficial for them to engage in that compared to normie dating. So what we're going to do on this channel, we're going to explore these topics. We're going to introduce you to some very interesting terminology, but we're going to be very discreet and respect the secretness and the discretion that needs to be done and the maturity of this lifestyle. Again, we're not promoting it. We're just introducing it over to YouTube, and we're going to have a great time with it. And I enjoy the comment section. I'm going to enjoy the comment section very much. All right. Am I dapper? Am I dressed? By the way, the archetype that I represent is the gentleman archetype. Even though I know and am aware of female nature, I'm not a red pill rager. With that in mind, my job is not to lash out against women. Lash out against women because they chose to live a certain lifestyle. If they chose to live it, hey, it is what it is. We can participate in it, but we can't change it. That's the important part to understand. Man, I'm going to enjoy this comment section, but do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe if you forgot about this channel. Yes, this is the 3rd channel. We're going to get this one to 100K in no time flat. Thank you for exposing me. We're out of here. Peace.
Better boss up, nigga.